Confidential, Season 5, Episode 6.
All right, we're back. I have DB and Kama with me. This is the last confidential for season 5, episode 6. Coming up this coming Friday from this video's release will be the finale. So that is a great topic because one of the questions I've been asked, DB is going to answer.
Okay, so this first question was, how will the finale work? And basically, we bring all the players back, and we basically get their thoughts el- uh, on the final victim, the mole, and the survivor. Who do they think it is? And then, of course, they reveal it, and then we just go on from there. Get all the expressions and, uh,
Group
you know.
hugs.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's pretty much how it'll work. It won't be a long episode because of something that I'm going to talk about a little bit later. But first, the topic that I wanted to mention is there was a person who made a comment kind of saying that, in a sense, one of the things that he felt was wrong about this season, he enjoyed the season, but he felt like one of the things that was wrong was that the players didn't know each other. And that reflected in how they played the game and interacted with each other. But that couldn't be farthest from the truth. Every one of the players in the game, short of Lizzie, they all know each other. They've played UHCs together and they played on our Mumble server, different games with each other. So they all had a pretty good knowledge of each other. So that really wasn't the case. Lizzie obviously doesn't play a lot of stuff. She plays more with her friends. So she was probably the one who knew people the least. But it definitely wasn't an issue. And I've talked about this before. What it really comes down to is in this game, it's not like the TV show. The TV show, you have a chance to win, $500,000, $250,000, whatever it is, based on each challenge and how well you do. You earn money for that group pot. So you have a real vested interest in wanting to beat the challenges, so that when you make it to the end, if you do, you're going to get a good payout. In this, it's diamonds, it's fake, it's not real. People don't care. Players from season 1 on through season 5 have all basically just said, afterwards or whatever, that they only cared about trying to make it through the game. They weren't really concerned about the diamond counts and if they won or not. Are there ways to get around that? Who knows? I may try to explore some other options. I still would like to do a season. I don't know if it'll be season 6, but a season where all the players don't know each other. I think that might be interesting too. All right. Kama has the next topic.
All right. One of the other questions or comments was challenge 11 was too hard. It was awful, bad. It was too hard in the beginning from my original concept, yes, but I made it easier. Doesn't mean it's too easy now. Obviously, it's one of the last challenges, so it should have some kind of difficulty to it. That people say it's bad. Well, you know, I like to build it, and I'm pretty sure the players enjoyed the challenge too. So that is pretty much your opinion.
It's your opinion, man. So
I mean,
obviously, Kama built that challenge.
yeah.
It's very similar to the escape that I originally did. The one thing that's hard about making a challenge is really figuring out how long it's going to take a team to do it. To be honest, the way we really need to do it, and it's too hard to do because we're not like this big TV show with a production crew. It's to really get a group of players to do the challenge and time them and get like a average, get a sampling of players and then see if it's doable. We can't do that. We can test it our way, test it by ourselves or whatever, and try to extrapolate maybe a time. But it's never easy to have the greatest time that's like 100%. They should be able to do it. And you just don't know what's going to happen. As soon as a challenge starts, teams, in this case, players do one thing wrong or take a little bit to do something. Um, it's over, or maybe they don't even worry about the time or think about the time. I don't really know if they ever even thought about the time throughout that whole challenge. I think they were so focused at the beginning on doing it. And then I extended the time on that challenge because I felt like they needed more time and I wanted to give them a chance. And I don't do that very often. I think the challenge was sound. Probably the only thing we could have done better would have been if we had a group of people playing it. And really that works for a lot of our times challenges. is to get a better sampling of what's doable. But it's very hard because even the people doing it for us in testing would not be under the pressure of the players who are actually being recorded during the game. But I think it went well. So, they definitely had an opportunity to be able to win that challenge with the extension, even so. They just didn't do it. All right. So the last topic before we get into showing off the other challenges and stuff was, what is the reunion and how does it work? So what'll happen is this coming Friday, you'll have the finale. That's where you'll get to find out who's the last victim. You'll get to see who survived, and then of course who's the mole. We'll have a brief chat with the players, but then that episode will end. You'll have a chance then after that, a link to send in questions that you want to send in. And you'll be able to send your questions in one of three ways. You can fill the form out and put your question, and you can ask players whatever you want to ask, or you can ask Kama, you can ask me, you can ask DB, whatever you want to do. Any questions you wish, and then we'll ask them. Depending on how many we get, we won't be able to get to all of them, so we'll have to pick. Or you can make a sound file of your question if you'd rather ask it in audio form, and I'll play it during the reunion. Or you can make a video file. It can be yourself in Minecraft. You could actually film yourself with your camera, your webcam, your cell phone, or whatever, and submit that to me, and I'll play it in the video for the reunion video. But it'll be your chance to ask the questions to players and people who worked on the mole, whatever you want to ask. They'll answer the questions. We'll go through all of the challenges, talk about things. Players will be able to give their feedback on how they did, what things they did that were maybe mole-ish or not. So it's really to kind of give everybody that final wrap where we can really just give everybody a chance to say whatever they want to say. Players who have watched it now, instead of playing it, now they've been able to watch and see it. They'll be able to give their feedback and maybe say things they missed. So it's always fun to do. It might be a two-parter because it can run long, but that's what'll happen. And when I put up the form for the questionnaire and everything, and the last video airs for the finale, you'll know like how long you have to submit your questions. All right, so here we are at challenge 11. Again, this was Kama's challenge that we were just talking about. You can see some of the different rooms that the players had. This was Stig's room here. This is the state it was left in after the challenge. It'll stay like this forever in mole history. There's the infamous cart that they were sending back and forth. And over here, going through the wall with my super teleport, was Bond's area where he would send stuff and craft it. Here was his dispenser, the hint for the redstone repeater, and then Pappy would send things through over here. And then here was Pappy's room with some of the jumps that Pappy didn't like. When he made this jump up here, he could come through here. And this is where he could make things happen to give stuff to Bond. And then when he got his door opened here, he went in here, and he had a lot of parkour to do. Nothing super hard, but it's always pressure. That's where the pick was and all that good stuff. But Kama, we're going to let DB go first here since you built this. But Kama, or DB, what are your thoughts on Kama's challenge here and how it played out?
I think it was good. It's more thinking rather than doing. And I will say it's really unfortunate that Pappy got this room. But I think it's good. Yeah.
All right, Kama.
Yeah, I tried to make it fair for all three players, but I wanted one room that has mostly to do with parkour, then one room where you could die from fire, and then the last room, which is just a crafting room, so that one should have been just the easiest because he had to do crafting. I put hint signs everywhere to make it even easier for them, so they actually know what they have to build. And then on the blocks on Bond's side and Stick's side, I even put signs down that say what exactly comes on here. Like this one says only place redstone torch and emerald blocks.
Yeah, they had the
So,
information there for them. They just didn't work very well for whatever reasons, and we can find out more about that on the reunion.
I mean, if I wanted to make the challenge super hard, I would have left all the signs blank or didn't even put signs, and I don't think they would have finished the challenge in any given time.
I mean, one of the things, if you go back and listen to the challenge, they didn't listen to each other very well. There was times when players would say something and another player would say, well, we need something. And that player had already mentioned having it. They were really struggling to communicate and listen, which is key when you play the game. Maybe it was stress. Maybe it was on purpose. You just don't know. Maybe it was the work of the mole. Uh,
True.
but I think it was a good challenge. It was. I always loved puzzly rooms, so I like that aspect of it. And they weren't able to complete it in time, but at least they did complete it. They took a few
Yeah.
shortcuts. Like this wasn't necessarily your plan.
No.
So funny. I cracked up when he put those ladders down.
I mean, I did make the rule you can break what you craft, but I did not have in mind that they actually break the ladders and put them there. So,
And that was one of those things where I could have, if I wanted to, enforce a penalty, but it was obvious they weren't going to make the challenge anyway.
yeah.
So I let it go as well. We didn't really tell them they couldn't because we said you can break what you place or craft or whatever.
Hmm.
So they played within the rules that were given to them. All right, so here we are flying high above Chow 12. Now this was originally made by Gizmo, and he had a lot of people help him on it when he first made it. I copied it, pasted it into this world. I added the mountain range around it and kind of filled in the dirt that's eventually going to all turn to grass around it. One of the things that you may have caught that I didn't fix was, and because there's so many houses, some of the double doors and the doors aren't lined up right, and it's kind of a byproduct of the old Minecraft going to the new Minecraft versions. So some of the doors are glitched. So if I use this in the next season, I'll probably try to fly around and fix all the doors before I paste it in. But it's in a much cleaner form now that it has the wall around it. Uh, so, I mean, I cleaned up everything about it. This is a challenge that I always write these questions out. And I always try to come up with questions that are a little, maybe upset some feelings or, just dig at people a little bit, get people a little riled up maybe. And it's always interesting to see the way players answer, even some of the basic ones. This challenge works well too because they do know each other, and that's one reason why I was a little shocked that one person commented they don't know each other. But they talked in this challenge about you play with this person a lot offline. I don't play as much. That he knows me from this or that, so it was pretty obvious that the final three knew each other. And like I said, as did the other players. It just some of them didn't have a chance to communicate that because they were dumped out of the game so quick. But I mean, you can really see the layout where players start way back there at the gate, and then if they choose A or B, they start to spider their way through it. So there's enough houses for all answers, no matter which combinations they choose. So it's a big area for this challenge. But I cleaned it up pretty well with the mountains and everything around it. It's just a matter now of fixing the doors for the next season. But what did you guys think of this challenge?
This is
This
my
is
favorite challenge
yeah,
ever.
favorite
Ever.
challenge.
It
Um,
would be good for like friends, just as like a mini game as well.
hmm Well, I came in here like just looking around if there's anything I can fix. And I guess I could have changed the houses, but I didn't want to. I mean, I left it all as it is. There's no changes whatsoever. Because I think this one's a classic and should not be changed in any way,
Except fix the doors.
except
Yeah.
fix the doors. But that's.
Yeah,
But
that's
other than
just
that, I
notch.
mean, not even the blocks are going to be changed. I'm not doing anything on that challenge. This is like the classic season one challenge and will forever be one.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the only thing that worries me about this challenge is if you do play a game with people who don't know each other, you got to really adjust your questions to be more based off of how things went throughout that season with the players, things that you can use based off of how they interact it, or things that you've noticed with those players or whatever through the game, because you can't really talk about some things because it just doesn't make sense. Who has a better skin? That's fine. Who's more annoying? That's fine. But
It's
other
the best.
questions work better if they know each other. But
And
we
they get
do
more salty.
Yeah, and we do the party before the season starts, the pre-party, where the players and the alternates all play together, which gives people, if they don't know each other, a chance to get a little bit of knowledge of each other before we actually even start the season. Uh, so, this is a tough challenge to not have, just because it's always been a staple of the last one. Very tough challenge. Someday maybe we'll get a group that can get 2 out of the 3, and maybe someday we'll get a group that can do all 3 correctly. It was a much easier challenge this year because of the ease of game mode, being able to just, put them in the room that they're supposed to be hidden in and just put them in game mode. So it was much easier to not worry about like warping people from, like, say, the mansion into here when we're ready. Because you worry, like, with some of the Vanish plugins, sometimes they can glitch and things, and you can actually still see the person or maybe get a brief glimpse of them, which could have influenced their decision on which rooms to pick. So we wanted to make sure that we do it right. And in previous seasons, we wouldn't teleport them in until they picked the room. And even then, you guys have all seen it probably if you've played in multiplayer servers where people teleport around. Sometimes when a person teleports, you don't see them until you get enough distance from them. So there's all these little glitches that can occur. But all in all, I think this season, all the challenges went well. We really didn't have any major issues. I mean, it really went really smooth. The players, we didn't really have any major technical issues. I think the only time we ever had an issue was right before the interviews when the Mumble server crashed.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't crash technically. It was the internet connection to the Mumble server. It was only for people in Europe, I think. Everybody else was able to stay in.
Hmm. And then the one where the plugin didn't work, but that was minor.
Well, I had already had a backup for the plugin. I had the commands made so you could just do it manually. So I was prepared that it may not work because, again, without having a group to test it with to simulate a game, sometimes you have to test during the game. And that's the worst thing about Mole when you do it is you don't want to have to redo a challenge. You don't want to ever have to do anything again because A, then they've played it. B, if a mole gives himself away the second time, but they didn't the first time, I mean, you're giving the players a chance to get more info or the mole a chance to make more mistakes. So, when you do a challenge, you want to be able to start it, stop it, and it goes smoothly. And we had that work beautifully for us this season. So it's probably one of the easiest seasons that I've ever done. And probably one of the reasons why I am going to do a season 6 and try to do it this summer. So, and we'll talk about that more on the reunion episode, so people can know when the time frames are going to roughly hit for signups and all that. But there will be signups in spring somewhere, and probably a summer recording session for the mole.
Yay.
All right, so here we are in a sneak peek of our finale room. What could it be? Well, it's the finale room, but you guys can both go ooh if you want.
Ooh.
Ooh.
All right, so next up we have the viewer voting results from last week still, right?
Yep.
And it is, right now, the people think it is Pappy.
Ooh. Well, he's still in
Ah.
the game.
Huh.
So remember, that is your voting from the end of episode 5 until episode 6 aired. So in the reunion, I'll reveal the final voting for what you guys did, starting with a set fresh week of voting after having more knowledge of watching these last 2 challenges. Will your voting change? Will you still think Pappy's the mole? Or will it change to one of the other 2? We'll have to wait and find out till the reunion. So you can still vote until the finale airs. All right. The last mole comment of the week. Now, before we reveal this one, I want to mention I'm looking for people who want to step up and sing the Mole Comment of the Week live for the reunion. If you can send me your audition of what you want to do, I want something really cool and fancy. If someone does and you can handle the pressure, we'll bring you into the reunion episode and let you be there for it, and you'll get to sing the Mole Comment of the Week, and I'll have myself, Comma, and DB choose what we think is the best comment out of all of the comments for season 5, be it confidential comments or episode comments. And we'll let you sing the Mole Comment of the Week intro. If no one sings anything good, DB's going to perform and sing it live.
Yeah, right, huh? Yeah, no.
And Kama's going to play the pan flute for her as backup. But this final Mole Comment of the Week for the confidentials is sung by Little Pie. Take it away, Little Pie.
Comment of the week.
All right, and our final comment comes from Pickerum. And he said, "Guys, I think I've narrowed who the mole is down to 3 people."
Wow.
So he's that's good. That's probably right. He's probably right. But that's going to do it for season 5, episode 6, and season 5 of Mole Confidentials. Big thanks to DB and Kama for being here for all these confidentials, and also Shots, who I think was in one of them with us.
Mm-hmm.
So big thanks to you guys for the help. We got one more big thing to do, the reunion. Remember, DB is going to be our roving reporter for the reunion. We talked about that last week. You know, she's going to go around. She's going to have each player, when I talk to him, she's going to have one roving reporter type question that's going to delve deep into their souls. And just it might be like an Oprah moment where they cry after answering it. We're not sure, but
Oh my gosh.
DB is going to unleash the Oprah and the Ellen and David Letterman, Johnny Carson, Jay Leno, Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, all that stuff. She's going to channel all of that into it, and it's going to be amazing. So you're going to want to watch the reunion just for that. That's going to be like her homework.
Have fun with that.
I'm out.
So, and again, as DB runs off, thanks to you guys for the help. And if you guys want to say your goodbyes, we'll be closing out this season of Confidential.
Bye.
Bye.
DB's roving reporter.